Good afternoon, everyone. This is Curtis with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, and I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon and taking some time to talk about, in my opinion, a very important topic. I know it's not easy being out there doing what you do and meeting with prospects and providing advice and trying to figure out what the right solution is. And ultimately, when you've done that and you've got a client that's ready to move forward, I think a key thing there is that you don't want the case to go sideways. And so we started doing these webinars a couple of months ago, and we've seen really good feedback from them. I think there's a lot of things that ebb and flow in the new business world with all of the carriers, and so that's part of why we're wanting to make a good, strong, dedicated effort to, on a monthly basis, provide some updates and best practices for submitting life insurance business, so that way we can get that submission to commission process as seamless as possible for you. So before getting into the meat of the presentation, I wanted to take a couple of minutes here at the beginning and talk a little bit about some of the additional ways IAMS is here to provide service and support and value for your practice. So first up is our new producer builders. You can see there we've got a number of point totals up on the screen. If you're a new agent to IAMS, when you're writing business, you automatically get enrolled into that. And you can see there that in your first 6 months, there's a number of different options that you can select from based off of your point totals. And if you've got questions on that, reach out, talk to a life sales director over here. That number is 800-255-5055. In addition to that, we've got our referred producer program. If you know of an agent who maybe isn't quite happy with their current IMO relationship, or maybe you just think they'd be a good fit for us, send them our way. Not only will you get $50 when that agent gets contracted, but on an ongoing basis, you'll earn revenue based off of their production. You don't have to provide any of the service. We'll take care of all of that, and it's a great way to generate an additional revenue flow into your business. In addition to that, we've got our marketing reimbursement program. You can see that for every $100,000 of qualifying indexed annuity premium, you get $100 of marketing reimbursement. And then on the life insurance side, $200 for every $100,000 of single premium life, as well as $200 for every $10,000 of target. And again, if you've got questions on that, reach out, talk to a sales director. That number is 800-255-5055. In addition to that, we've got our back office support, which we're going to spend a decent amount of time talking about today, and some of the resources that you have access to. But in addition to that, we've got a very knowledgeable team of sales directors here to help you on the front end. We've got case managers, contracting and licensing support. We've also got our IAMS portal, which is a wealth of resources. In fact, let's talk a little bit further about that. In addition to having quoting software, rate sheets, we also have a variety of underwriting resources as well as marketing collateral on the IAMS website. We also have our sales resource library, which literally has hundreds of point-of-sale pieces that you can use in your practice. You just need to be contracted with us to get access to it. And if you've got questions about that, reach out and talk to a sales director over here. Again, that number is 800-255-5055. In addition to all those resources on the IAMS portal, we also integrate with all of your major e-app platforms. So you can go right to the IAMS website, and whether you're doing an annuity application or a life insurance application or even Medicare, you can do that right off of the IAMS website. I'll spotlight Firelight here. You can see that they integrate with a number of the annuity carriers that we have, as well as several of the life companies that we offer. And then if you don't see the carrier you're looking for on the life insurance side there, well, we've got iPipeline as well, and they integrate with the majority of the additional carriers that we have in our portfolio. Creative marketing solutions. Creative really is the key word there. I've found over the years that it is becoming more and more important that your digital brand is as robust as possible, and the creative team does an amazing job of that over here. I would also mention to you as well, we have a complimentary marketing analysis that we make available to agents. That's a great way to really take a deep dive into your business, look at what your goals are, how are you currently marketing, what are you happy with, what are you not quite happy with, and figure out what is that right combination of strategies. And so if you haven't taken advantage of that service, I would strongly encourage you to do so. We've also got IAMS Wealth Management, and I'll go ahead and I'll launch the first poll of the day. We have certainly seen a growing trend over the years of more and more advisors who are wanting to uh, start to incorporate AUM into their practice. I think that's going to continue to be the case, and so we developed IAMS Wealth Management with that in mind. And the team over there does a great job. If you've been thinking about maybe getting your 65, or maybe you currently have an RIA relationship that you're not quite happy with, go ahead and check yes on the box there, and I can have somebody from IAMS Wealth reach out to you. So we'll go ahead and get this closed down here real quick. We also have our life and annuity academies, and I'll launch our second poll today here. These really are a great opportunity to spend some time working on your business, spend some time learning about the top trends going on in the annuity and the life insurance space, as well as marketing. Also be able to hear from your peers out in the field and what's working for them and what's not. And so it's really, we pack a lot into it. And so it's a great opportunity to spend a couple of days really, sharpening your skill set and the resources that you have available for you. So definitely check yes if you have interest in those. We will be announcing our upcoming schedule for the year in the not too distant future. The other thing I would mention to you as well is we also have our Ascend kickoff meeting that's going to be going on tomorrow. And so if you haven't registered for that, I would strongly encourage you to do that as well. If you got questions on it, reach out, talk to a life sales director over here. That number is 800-255-5055. And we're going to be covering a variety of different topics, from marketing to economic forecast, legislative risk, a host of different things. So a ton of resources on there as well. So I'll close this down here. We did wrap up qualification for our Seaside Sanctuary trip. So if you've got questions on that, you can either check the IAMS portal or reach out, talk to a sales director over here. That number is 800-255-5055. And we'll be also announcing the next trip as well. The qualification started on it in January, so everything that you're producing now does go toward that new trip. Lastly, like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's a great way to get information out. We're posting on a regular basis there. So I'm going to go ahead and get our presentation pulled up here for the main event. So as I mentioned, life insurance is a very, very big piece of what we do over here at IAMS. And I think that's going to continue to grow, especially this year when we look at legislative risk and utilizing life insurance as an asset class. And so one key component of that is making sure that when you do get that client ready to move forward, that not only do you understand the process, but then you can articulate that to the consumer. So with me today, I've got Michele Kosiol, who oversees our Life New Business division. So one, thank you, Michele, for taking some time with us today.
Thank you.
And she has got a very good presentation that's going to give us a nice deep dive on kind of what to expect and how to make this whole process as seamless as possible. And as we're going, if you've got a question in mind, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we'll go ahead and address it as we're going through here. So with that, Michele, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the IAMS service standards. What we do here at IAMS is we assist from start to finish. We assist with illustrations and carrier placement. If you need any help with any illustrations or trying to figure out where to place your business, call in, talk to a sales director, and they can help you with that. We also assist with any questions. So before, during, and after any policy placements, we are here to help. Our office does review paper applications to ensure accuracy and completeness before submission. We do this to help with the processing and the processing time at the home office once that application is submitted. We also communicate with the agents throughout the application process. So once that application is submitted to our office, you will hear from us every 3 days. Our goal is to be picking up the phone and making calls to the agents to keep you guys in the loop of where everything is at and if anything else is needed. We also order Paramed exams and medical records when they're requested by the underwriter. That way we have more control over it and we can push to get those things completed and get those medical records in our office a bit quicker than what we would do if the carrier was ordering them. We also assist with enforced policies, so just because that policy is placed in force does not mean our job is done. If you have any questions or any concerns about an enforced policy, you can go ahead and pick that phone up and give us a call. Before submitting an application, we do ask and we encourage that you talk to your client and find out what their medical history is, if they have any criminal history background or anything like that. If they do, you can reach out to us and request a IAMS screening questionnaire. That will help give you the bigger picture of what we're looking at, and then our sales directors or even our in-house underwriter can walk through and kind of try and figure out where the best placement for that policy is. That way we're only doing one application and we're not doing several. Make sure that you're setting expectations with your clients. Give them time frames, let them know that when an exam is needed and if any inspections. So the carrier will request for like an MVR and all of that good stuff. So if we can set those expectations with the clients, then that kind of helps them move along through the process a little faster as well. Going through it, our office will also provide you timelines, so just go ahead and pass those on to your clients to let them know what to expect. Ensure that you are contracted with the carrier that you're going to be writing before submitting business. This also will help push the business through a little bit quicker. If we receive an application and you are not contracted, we can't submit that application until the contracting has been submitted to the carrier.
Can they, so on the contracting part, because I know that comes up sometimes because we don't necessarily stick to core carriers. We take whatever the scenario is and then we go out and, run whoever's going to come back the best. That's something they can, if they're talking to their sales director can just look that up right there when they're running quotes, right?
Yes, they can, and their sales directors can also order the contracting paperwork to be sent to them. We do use SuranceBase, so it's all electronic. It's not paper, which makes things a lot easier and goes a little bit quicker as well. And then also make sure before submitting an application, you register on the IAMSinc.com website. As Curtis had explained earlier, it gives you all the tools that you need, and that's where you would go to complete e-applications. If you are completing a paper app, please be sure to call our office to make sure that you have the most current packet. At the beginning of the year, carriers are making changes to those forms, so we want to make sure that you have all of the correct paperwork up front. You can call and you can talk to a life marketer or a case manager, and they can help you with that as well. Assure your client that all disclosed information is confidential. I know there's with the identity theft and all of that going around now, people are a little leery of providing you with all of that confidential information because you're asking for medical information, you're asking for their social security number, their date of birth, all that stuff that we have embedded in our head that we do not give out. However, in order to do these applications, we do have to have all of that information. If you have a foreign citizen, make sure that you are obtaining their information. If you can obtain a copy of their visa, their green card, or proof of citizenship before you submit that application and you submit that with the application, then you're not having to go back to that client and asking for additional information. So the more information we have up front, again, the quicker we can get this through underwriting for you.
There's never a scenario where they're not going to need that if you've got a foreign citizen or foreign national, correct?
Correct. They will always want proof of citizenship or a green card. We do have some carriers that are a little bit easier to write those foreign nationals than others. So if you do have a foreign national, again, call in, talk to the sales director's team or our in-house underwriter so that we can get that person placed where we need it the first time.
Okay.
When submitting applications, So the best way to do it is to go on our website and do the EAPS through the IGO or the Firelight. That ensures that the application is complete and it can get submitted a bit quicker than if you were to do a paper application. However, I do know that there are going to be some cases where you do need to do a paper application. You can email that to our life team at life@iamsinc.com. You can fax it to 402-330-7296. Or if you go to our website, you can upload it onto our website as well. When submitting the application, again, make sure that everything is complete and in good order. Make sure that all the personal medical beneficiary information is complete. If there are yes questions to the medical, or yes answers to the medical questions, make sure that the client provides full details for the yes. So they're looking for, if they were diagnosed with, say, diabetes, they're looking for when they were diagnosed. They're looking for the type. They're looking for who diagnosed them. They're looking for any medications that the client's on. So the more information you provide, the better that will be.
And we just had a question pop in, and the question is, what if somebody has an H-1 visa? How does that impact things? Which I'm not quite sure what the answer is, but this might be a good opportunity to mention Andrea, our in-house underwriter.
Yeah. So we have implemented an in-house underwriter. Her name is Andrea, so that would be a great question for her. And we will have all of our contact information at the end. So if you wanted to reach out to her, you can email her, or you can even call into the office and ask to talk to her. And she would be more than happy to walk through that process with you.
And she's been a great resource for us. She comes with about 30 years of underwriting experience, and so you're really hard pressed to ask her anything that she's not going to be able to give you an answer to. And we've definitely seen an impact on that with our pre-screens. And Michele made a really good point earlier in the presentation, which is it's always easier to place a case if we're just going to one carrier versus we go down one route and then have to pivot and go find another one. And so she's done a really good job of helping us and the advisors make sure that we're starting with the right option and right out of the gate.
During the underwriting process, if a online part 2 is needed, make sure that you let that client know that they're going to get an email or a phone call. And I've seen that we have more carriers that are leaning towards this method than having it completed by the writing agent themselves. I know we have some where either the client doesn't want to provide that information directly to the agent, or the agent just isn't comfortable asking those personal medical questions. So just let them know that, a phone interview or a link is going to be sent out to the client. And again, our team will let you know if it's going to be a phone call or if it's going to be an email. Encourage them to get those completed as quickly as possible. With a lot of our carriers, that is what determines if they go through accelerated underwriting or not. So the sooner they can get those completed, the quicker that it can go to the underwriter for review. And then if you are filling out a paper application, again, make sure that all questions are complete and the yes answers are as detailed as possible. So when doing an exam, we want to be able to provide the clients with these helpful tips to kind of make it a little easier and for them to get the best results from their Paramed exam. Have them fast for at least 4 to 6 hours prior to the exam. We do this because of your blood sugars and other things that can be affected. Make sure that they're well hydrated. Make sure they drink plenty of water. This makes the blood draw easier, and it makes the urine sample a little bit easier to provide. Avoid high salt intake. Avoid alcohol for at least 12 hours prior to the exam. If they do consume alcohol, it can elevate their blood pressure. Avoid strenuous exercise for at least 12 hours. By doing this, if they do strenuous exercise before their Paramed exam, it can elevate their heart rate and drop their potassium levels. And all of those are checked and tested for. So we just want to make sure, again, that we can get the best results possible. Avoid nicotine for at least 1 hour prior, because this too can elevate your blood pressure. Make sure that the client has a list of prescriptions, dosages, and physicians that have prescribed those. That will be requested for the medical questions that the examiner asks as well. And then lastly, if an EKG is needed, make sure that your client is wearing comfortable clothing. Nobody wants to do an EKG or a stress test in their work clothes and heels. What happens once your case is approved? So once your case is approved, your case manager will request issue instructions from you. These can be given either over the phone or via email. If your application is approved other than applied for, our case managers are going to go back and they're going to see if there's anything that additional that we can provide to try and sway the approval to where we need it to be. If we can't, then our in-house underwriter is notified. She takes a look at it, and she will let us know if there's a carrier that we can place it with more favorable outcome.
I feel like that's a big difference with us. There's obviously a lot of firms that do life insurance, and I think oftentimes once an approval comes in, that just goes right out to the advisor, and then it's, here you go, here's where it's at. And we definitely pay attention to, the illustration that comes in, how it was quoted initially, and if we're getting something that's other than applied for. I mean, we are definitely working toward getting that back to where it needs to be and what you originally illustrated. Doesn't mean we can always do it, but we've got that process built into what it is that we do.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if it's something that's obvious, then, and there's not much we can do, then, we do have our talk with the agent to kind of see how they want to proceed. But normally we'll also just automatically send it to our in-house underwriter for her to review, because typically we can sometimes get it placed with another carrier if the approval isn't so.
Is other than applied for.
Yeah, it's other than applied for. We can look at the clients and say, well, they look healthy, or, what's wrong with their build? Their build is fine. But as we all know, we can look healthier than what we are. So, again, if that's the case, then we do go and we do try to find another carrier, or we do try to go back and see if we can provide anything else, to try and sway the underwriter for a more favorable approval.
I think the other thing about that is even the sales director, there's a lot of different ways to adjust and manipulate policies. So even, if we go down the path and we've tried to go through every single door and what the rate class is going to be, you've also got your dedicated sales directors over here to where if there's a budget that clients want to stick around, then they'll work with you on how can we adjust this plan and get something to where it fits within that budget and puts that client in a better situation.
Yes. So paper policy or e-policy, I've seen a lot of carriers moving more towards an e-policy. We do have paper policies. If they are paper policies, 9 times out of 10, they're being mailed directly to the agent for delivery. What's nice about that is you then get to see that policy, you review it, make sure that everything is okay, and then you can sit down and have that conversation with your client and go over it, and then get everything signed and delivered. So once all of the delivery requirements are completed, if you are getting a physical premium payment, you can always send in copies of the delivery requirements and that check to our office and mail it in directly to the carrier. By doing this, that lets us know that you have delivered it, you do have the delivery requirements, they are getting mailed in, and we can then follow up with the carrier just to make sure that everything is received. If they're doing an EFT, you can always just complete all of the delivery requirements, scan them into our office, send it to that life@iamsinc.com email. We can get them submitted to the case manager, and we can get that policy placed in force quicker than you mailing in everything and waiting for the Postal Service to get it to the carrier. So as we've mentioned, we have a really good team of people here at our office. So these are our sales directors, our life sales associates, and our in-house underwriter. This is all of their email addresses. So if you have a client or if you have a case that you are wanting to discuss with them, just go ahead and send an email over, and they would love to be able to help you try and see where we can place that case.
Another thing I'd mention as well on that is they are all very seasoned. And so we assign sales directors to all the advisors that we have, but I'd also mention that if you call in, our focus is best in class service. So if you need something right now and you happen to have your sales directors on the phone, we can have another one help you and make sure that we're getting you what you need so you can get on to the next thing that you're doing for the day.
These are all of our life case managers. Again, we have a really good team. We have a lot of years of experience between all of us. If you call in, any of us can help you. We are assigned certain carriers. So again, you're going to have certain case managers for certain carriers. But again, any of us can help you if any of us are on the phone.
How do you find that makes a difference? I know there's different ways to do that, but the fact that we assign by carrier, how does that help improve the experience for the advisor?
Because we have so many carriers, it helps so that we are all pretty well versed and very familiar with those carriers that we are assigned. So we don't have to know everything about every single carrier. We have our own little section of carriers, and so then we can ensure the best service possible because we are familiar with those carriers and we do know how they work, and we build those relationships with those carriers.
So a couple of things here as we're coming to a close. One, we've got our life insurance sales kit. This is an amazing resource that includes prospecting pieces, client presentations, as well as agent guides. And so it's everything that you need in one package in order to drive more sales. Second thing that we've got available here is our life insurance best practices guide. I know Michele covered a wide range of topics, and so we developed this life insurance best practices guide. Take a little bit deeper dive. It is a really good reference point for how things like accelerated underwriting works, the different talking points, tips, etc. that she'd mentioned. And so, in fact, I'll go ahead and I'll launch our final poll today. If you'd like a copy of the life insurance sales kit as well as the life insurance best practices guide, just check yes there. While wrapping up, Michele, I mean, I would definitely say, I mean, I feel like we take, when you look at it, a much more proactive approach with follow-up with the advisors. And I think one key difference there is, there's a lot of firms where they primarily rely on email, and they're sending out email status, et cetera. But with our case management team, I mean, they're on the phones reaching out to the advisors as well.
Yes, so that's one of the things that we have changed. We are picking up the phone. We are calling our agents a lot more than what we used to. I like to say there's a difference between case managers and case status. We are case managers. We are forward thinking. We're trying to solve issues before they come about for our agents, just to make this process a lot easier and go a lot smoother. We're not just sitting here just pushing out status and hoping that it's going to come back to us. If we're not receiving what we need, or if we don't know if you've received those emails or anything, we're calling. We're picking up that phone. We're calling. So you'll get 3, 4, 5 phone calls from us in a row before you get an email. And that's just one of our standards that we take pride in, because we're not just case status. We are case managers, and we are trying to manage these for you.
So that I guess that's a good point then. So if you're getting a call from your case manager, that means there's something that has changed or updated on your case, and they're wanting to get that out to you. So definitely you want to make sure to get back with them, because that helps accelerate everything through the process. The quicker that we can get information and get that to the carrier, the quicker they can come to a decision on something, and we can get that case issued and out the door. So I'll go ahead and close down this final poll. As we wrap up here, another thing I would mention to you as well is be on the lookout for our underwriting webinars. So we kind of do two base webinars on a monthly basis. One is this, where we're talking about new business best practices. And then in addition to that, we also do a webinar each month talking about underwriting best practices. And so we've got a great webinar on field underwriting, which is a really good overview of what are the things that you need to be considering. This month we've done a webinar on diabetes and how that factors in, and so we'll have topics every single month that we're going through. But with that, I want to thank everybody for taking some time to be with us today. Michele, thank you for taking some time to go through this, and your sales directors will be in touch with you as well. Thanks, everybody.